It's 4:30 and this is WKYT This Morning. The final presidential debate is over and now the countdown to the election is beginning. We'll have a full recap of the debate coming up.
A vigil was held to honor a man killed last weekend in a Lexington shooting. We talked to his mother to find out what made him so loved by his community.
And after Trinity Gay's death at the cookout on South Broadway on Sunday morning, we decided to take a look at how much crime happens in that area. We'll have the results of that and your weather forecast. Here come the changes all ahead on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Hello there. Good morning. Welcome. It's your Thursday. We're glad you're along on WKYT. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Andrea Walker. It's great to see you on this Thursday, October 20th. And today we're going to tell you something that we haven't heard in a long time. You might want to pack your rain gear.
Yeah,
Can you
good
believe
possibility
it?
that, and even the possibility of a storm that could kick up here and there as the day goes along. That ushers in other changes. Let's check in with Micah in the First Alert Weather Center.
Yeah, and we're looking on Defender and still seeing mainly dry conditions. Now, here's the deal. We talked about this the past few days. Morning hours, very small chance, about 30–40%, and that'll take you all the way until noon. Once you get past noon, that's when things really start to sprout up, and you'll see widespread rain across the region. Temperatures there in the 60s, actually a pretty nice start today. Feels decent outside, not all that bad, 73 by the afternoon. So obviously it's not rising that much because the rain moves in later on today. I'll show you how widespread it is and if everybody sees rain or if anybody gets left out. I'll have that coming up.
See you in a bit, and thank you.
The 2016 presidential candidates and their surrogates are back on the campaign trail today following last night's third and final presidential debate.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump went toe-to-toe for 90 minutes in Las Vegas on issues including Russia, the economy, and immigration. The stakes were high for the Republican nominee, with Clinton leading in most national polls. Weijia Jiang has the latest on campaign 2016.
The Social Security Trust Fund by making
the tense Sin City showdown ended as it began, without a customary handshake between the presidential nominees. But one of the most controversial moments of the night came when Donald Trump refused to say whether he'd accept the outcome of the general election.
I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
That's horrifying. You know, every time Donald thinks things are not going in his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him.
At least 3 Republican senators, including Arizona's Jeff Flake, immediately condemned the remarks on social media, as did Clinton's campaign. This group of uncommitted voters was left divided.
It'll inspire disconnection from a lot of the population from the political process.
To say, no matter what the results are, I will be okay with it, without knowing what's going to happen, I don't think anybody would do that about anything that was serious.
The third and final debate here in Las Vegas was dominated by substance, from abortion to the economy to Russian interference in the election.
Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
Both candidates addressed their looming controversies as well. Clinton on her family foundation.
Everything I did as Secretary of State was in furtherance of our country's interests.
And Trump on the numerous sexual assault allegations against him.
I think they want either fame or her campaign did it, and I think it's her campaign.
Voters get their say in less than 3 weeks when they head to the polls on Election Day. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Las Vegas.
And Clinton and Trump will both deliver remarks at the Alfred Smith Memorial Foundation dinner in New York tonight. That event benefits charities that serve New York's neediest children.
Friends and family are paying tribute to a Lexington man who died in a weekend shooting. Police say someone shot 27-year-old James Blair early Sunday morning in the Chase parking garage downtown. A vigil was held for him in the Winburn neighborhood last night. WKYT's Garrett Weimer talks to Blair's mother.
That's James right there, and all siblings and their families right there.
To Doreen Blair, these pictures are priceless.
There I am smiling and cheesing and telling everybody, come see James, you know, come and meet him.
They remind her of memories she'll now treasure forever. She says it still doesn't seem real. Her son is gone.
I couldn't believe it. I screamed and I hollered and I just was crazy. That's what I want to call myself, you know, because that's my baby, you know. He's 27. That was my youngest son, and we always stayed in touch every day, you know. It's just hard, you know.
Hard as well for 2 young boys. 2 years old and 7 months old, now growing up without their father. Family and friends say Blair was a good man. The big crowd that showed up at a candlelight vigil, a testament to just how much he meant to this community.
Everybody loved him. He was a good guy. He really was. Not just because it was my son, because he just was a good guy. It's going to be so hard. It is. It's going to be so hard.
We come, oh Lord, we need thee.
After a violent weekend in Lexington for this hurting family, enough is enough. They're ready for the killing to stop.
We hope and pray it does. We hope it's awareness again, you know. We hope and pray it does.
I pray we'll all be ready
in Lexington
for his return.
Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Investigators say they've identified a possible person of interest, but so far police have not made any arrests.
Lexington police have arrested a fourth person in connection to the shooting death of 15-year-old Trinity Gay. Police charged 20-year-old Lamonte Williams with wanton endangerment. 3 other men arrested Sunday face the same charge. Police say Trinity was caught in crossfire of a shootout near the Cookout restaurant on South Broadway on Sunday morning. And as WKYT's Monique Blair found, police were called to that area multiple times for different crime reports over the last year.
I actually just moved to Lexington a couple months ago, and that was one of the things that drew me here, was that it feels really safe.
Ever since the shooting happened just before 4 o'clock Sunday morning, Lexington police tell us they have increased patrols out here on South Broadway. So we did a little digging to find out just how often police have been called to this surrounding area in the past year, specifically to businesses that stay open later than 2 a.m. We requested data from 5 different South Broadway restaurants, 3 of which stay open 24 hours a day. 2 of them, which includes Cookout, stay open until 4 a.m. or later on the weekends. These 5 locations are within 3/4 of a mile of one another. In the past year, police were called to Cookout 4 times for assault, including the call on Sunday. Each of those calls coming in between the hours of 11 p.m. and 3:30 a.m. Of the 4 remaining restaurants, there was only 1 other call for assault in the past year. 4 of the 5 restaurants, including Cookout, each had multiple calls for criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, and drunkenness. The majority of those calls happening between the hours of 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. So what does this mean? Well, we put the statistics aside and asked Lacey Garvin, who lives just a few feet from Cookout, how she feels about this part of town.
I do feel very safe out here. I've lived here for 3 years, and as I told everyone that keeps asking me, this could happen anywhere, and you know, it's been safe this far. Nothing has happened here other than that.
In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
2 of the men charged in connection to the Trinity Gay shooting, Chazare Taylor and DeMarco Taylor, have each been released from jail on a $5,000 bond.
A man is dead after police say he shot a police officer at a home in Paris. It happened Tuesday night along Brent Street. Police say they went to the home to talk to 34-year-old Charles Stidham about a burglary investigation. They say he fired shots hitting Paris police officer Abdullah Boulat. Police say the bullet hit Boulat's bulletproof vest. Thankfully, he was not injured. The shooting sparked a standoff which lasted hours. Police say they later had an exchange of gunfire with Stidham and then found him dead inside the house. During the standoff, police evacuated some nearby homes as a precaution.
When I came out and looked out the door, I mean, this whole street was just covered in cops.
Wow.
It was, I mean, they were hiding behind cars and everything else.
Scary situation there. Bourbon County Detention Center records show Stidham had been booked on multiple charges the last few years, including assault and theft. A Scott County man accused of killing his parents nearly a decade ago thinks jurors in his new trial should hear about another possible suspect in the case. According to the Georgetown News Graphic, attorneys for Anthony Gray want a judge to allow testimony about a man Gray claims bragged about killing James and Vivian Gray in 2007. Gray is scheduled to go on trial for the 3rd time next year. His first trial ended in a hung jury. He was convicted of murder in the 2nd trial, but the Kentucky Supreme Court later overturned the conviction, ruling a confession used in the trial was coerced.
Firefighters think an abandoned campfire in the Red River Gorge spread, sparking a larger fire. That fire is along the Auger Ridge Trail in Powell County. It has forced part of the trail to be closed. Firefighters say the fire has burned around 2 acres, and they have it about half contained at this point. They say the recent dry weather has helped fuel the fire.
It's actually burning in an area that burned 6 years ago. It was so hot that it even killed the large, mature, overstory trees. With this fire, we still have some dead and down material, so there are a lot of ground fuels.
Firefighters think it will take them a few more days to get this fire under control. We'll stay on top of that. Hey, it's good to have you along. It's 4:40, 20 before 5. WKYT This Morning is just getting started.
Still to come, a rescue operation is underway right now in Florida to help a pregnant manatee return to the wild safely. That story is right after Micah's forecast.
And the storms are just to the north and just to the west of us. They're going to slide on through as we go through the day. Widespread rain expected with thunderstorms becoming likely. I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
The low to mid-60s out there early this morning. Actually, pretty nice feel. And also, we're staying mainly dry. Now, I'll tell you this, once we get off into the afternoon, that's going to be a totally different story. I do expect a few showers to spark up here in just the next couple of hours, especially south and back toward the southwest. You can already see evidence of that heading our direction. But the main focus of the system actually comes later on today. All right, let's talk about how much of a chance we actually have during the morning hours. Before noontime, here's 10 a.m., really along that 75 corridor, back toward the west, that's your best bet to actually see not just showers, but maybe even a few rumbles of thunder. This is your first wave. And we talked about this yesterday on WKYT this morning, where there are going to be a couple of waves. There are going to be a couple of shots at actually seeing some of that rain. It's not one line. It's not one big mass of rain. That's why we couldn't really give it a timeline for you guys. But it's just mainly afternoon. Here's noontime right along that 75 corridor. Still the first wave. Now watch this back toward the west, because this continues to creep east. Then we'll start to see the nasty part, the heaviest rain slide on in, and even the thunderstorms cranking up. There's 4 p.m., and those thunderstorms will move through as we go throughout the afternoon, evening, and nighttime hours. So that gives us that marginal risk of severe weather, marginal being the lowest risk of severe storms. It's still out there, though, so an isolated shot of that, not just today, but into Friday morning as well, and that goes for virtually everybody. This cancels out the far northwestern zones, because what's going to happen is once that front gets a little bit closer, then those storms really start to crank up later on this evening off into the night, and that will push through over toward mainly the I-75 corridor and back toward the east. So everybody gets rain today. It just all depends on the timing. If you're over toward the west, you'll get some during the morning. If you're over toward the east, southeast, it may be during late afternoon off into the evening hours before you actually see some rain, but no doubt about it, everybody gets rain out of this system. Friday into Saturday, you can see that much cooler conditions. It'll be dry for Friday night football, but it'll be much cooler though. 50s for highs, 30 for an overnight, or 37 rather, for an overnight low on Saturday morning.
You should say that 100%.
Everybody gets it. Finally.
I know, we need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
No missing it. 4:46 our time this morning. A complex rescue operation is underway to help a pregnant marine mammal return to the wild.
David Begnaud reports from SeaWorld in Orlando, where Washburn the manatee is recovering.
Welcome home, sweet girl. Welcome home.
Washburn the manatee returned to the Sunshine State to her temporary home at SeaWorld.
She looks good, right?
The once anonymous manatee became a summer celebrity. She was spotted bobbing in the choppy waters off Cape Cod in late August. Conservationists with the International Fund for Animal Welfare sprang into action, capturing Washburn 3 weeks later and taking her to the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut.
This is an ultrasound of the calf.
That's when veterinarians discovered this manatee was a mom-to-be.
It's not only one manatee, but it's two. So the stakes are pretty high.
Manatees, also known as sea cows, can weigh over 3,000 pounds on a diet comprised mainly of seagrass. The manatees that are native to Florida have spent nearly 50 years on the endangered species list, but the population is recovering.
We did have one orphan calf that was hand-reared, returned to the wild, and she gave birth to 9 calves. And who knows how many calves that those calves had. One manatee can have a huge effect on the population.
SeaWorld has already released 17 manatees back out into the wild this year. Washburn would be number 18. The idea is have her deliver her baby once she's back out in her natural habitat. David Begnaud, CBS News, behind the scenes at SeaWorld Orlando.
Washburn is expected to give birth in about 4 to 6 months. So good luck to Washburn.
Absolutely. The things you learn. Micah says he's been swimming with a manatee.
I know. That's right. He said they're huge.
Cool. Man, he has experiences, right? Hey, it is coming up on 4:48 on WKYT this morning. We're so glad you're with us on this Thursday, starting off a brand new day that rolls toward the weekend.
When we come back, Halloween is just a little more than a week away. So what's the candy trick-or-treaters want the most? We'll tell you right after the break.
Good morning. Welcome back in. Our time is 4:51 on WKYT this morning. Two young Knott County brothers injured in a dirt bike crash are receiving some support from their teachers and classmates.
Family members say Isaiah Whitaker and his young brother Malachi were riding a dirt bike near their home when it crashed. Both children were rushed to the hospital. Malachi was given some stitches and released, but Isaiah had to be taken to UK Hospital for surgery. Teachers and the principal at Carr Creek Elementary School reached out to the family to make sure the boys were okay, and their classmates made get well cards for the boys.
There's test scores and there's all these different things, but when you get right down to it, you know, we want the school to be someplace where kids feel safe and loved and appreciated.
Family members say Isaiah has been released from the hospital. They hope both boys will be back at school very soon.
New this morning, an inmate who walked away from a work detail in Lewis County is now back in custody. According to the Lewis County Herald, police say they found 20-year-old Sean Ogden yesterday afternoon not far from where he had last been seen on Highway 344. He is now facing a new escape charge. Police say Ogden is a state inmate from Frankfort. He's serving a 3-year sentence for theft convictions out of Franklin County. Police say he would have been eligible for parole on November 1st before this. Well, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention now recommend all pregnant women who have been to the Miami area now be tested for the Zika virus. Miami-Dade County, Florida is the only area in the continental U.S. where mosquitoes have been spreading the virus. Health leaders say pregnant women who have lived in or visited Miami since August 1st should be tested, even if they have had no symptoms. Doctors say Zika infection during pregnancy can lead to brain-related birth defects in the baby.
The Valley View Ferry will be closed for part of the day on Saturday, so Lexington police and firefighters can recover a few cars from the Kentucky River. Lexington police say the cars were spotted in the river earlier this year, but they are not associated with any investigation. Police say they just had to wait until water conditions were ideal and firefighters could fit the removal of these cars into their training schedule. The ferry will be closed between 10 Saturday morning and 2 that afternoon.
So find a bridge. Well, if you're planning to hand out candy for Halloween, a new survey has found which candies are most popular with trick-or-treaters. Influencer, you may have to help me with some of these names of this candy. Influencer.com asked 40,000 people around the country. That survey found Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the most popular candy. Kit Kats and Butterfingers are close behind. As for Kentucky, the website found Whoppers are the most popular candy here in the Bluegrass State.
And that's really funny. I was surprised Whoppers are the most popular, but I don't think I ever had them when I was little because that was my candy text to my mom. Whoppers are her favorite, so I never got it. I never got to even try them.
Well, that's sad. So many things you were deprived of, you know.
Poor Andrea.
4:54 is our time in a couple of seconds, and coming next we'll have a look at some of the stories our news team is working on for you this Thursday morning.
And another look at your morning forecast.
Time is 4:57 on WKYT this morning, and we welcome you back.
Let's take a look at some of the stories we're working on this morning.
Coming up, we're going to tell you about a peace walk that will be tonight in downtown Lexington. It is set to try and bring an end to the recent violence around the city. We'll update the latest news for you, look back at the presidential debate as well, and all the talk about that.
That's right.
A couple
it's
of weeks
always
to that
interesting,
election.
isn't it?
Yes.
Let's check in with Micah as we head into the 5 o'clock hour.
So let me break down the day for you before you take off early this morning. Slight chance of rain this morning at about 8 a.m. Then we get through your day. Storms will start to increase as we go through your day, especially toward the afternoon and off into the evening hours. That's when the bulk of the rain slides on in. We're going to go over that. I'll show you even a severe weather threat, much cooler conditions, a lot going on with another 2 hours. WKYT News.